Boxing video. I'm gonna do 2 packages, 1, 2, and hopefully something interesting inside. I'm never sure what's inside when I get these comics because I do order a lot of comics. I'm a bit of an addict, I guess. But I'm going to open these up and hopefully something interesting is inside. You can see what kind of comics I'm buying. I'm going to just... This one's a little challenging to open. Always paranoid when using the knife on these kind of ones that little questionable wrapping on them. I'm worried that I'm going to slice the comic because you can never quite tell sometimes where the... See how it's like wrapped and you're never sure where the comic is. So it's kind of a little sketchy. But, oh well, that was that part. And just quickly open up the... So one of the things that I've been doing lately is I've been looking for kind of cooler comics that have a bit of an edge to them. Rare comics that might be like I've been trying to buy a lot of these Seduction of the Innocence comics, and I've also been looking for sort of comics that were maybe misunderstood at the time that they were created and have almost a bad reputation. So with that in mind, there's this first comic that I picked up, and it's so poorly wrapped. I'm so... This is actually from a bookstore, so maybe they just don't understand comics, and it's just really poorly wrapped. They don't get how, like, this is the kind of cardboard they use. It's just like so sketchy. So yeah, so it's actually a very cool comic. It's not meant for kids, so that's maybe some sense of what the comic's going to be like. It's like I gotta carefully X-Acto knife the top edge of it so they can get it. They'd even put it in a bag and board. Like, this is a really valuable comic. I got it for a good price. Maybe that's why they didn't bag and board it properly. Like, I paid $40, but it's usually about a $200 comic, just to give you a sense. And it's Zap Comics Number Two. Now, this one's got a pretty major color breaking, crease down the middle. And still, in this condition, it's probably a 1 to 2. Because it's actually not bad looking. It is just... It's an adult comic from Robert Cronin. I'm going to do a video on this one later where I can explain who made their first appearance in this comic and the sort of history about this comic. This is one of those controversial comics that I'll have in one of my controversial comics videos. So the next package, the big one, so that one's a pretty major comic. It has a lot of Robert Cronin art and stories in it. If you're not familiar with Robert Cronin, he's kind of an interesting character, sort of an underground comic artist from the 70s. Very, very popular artist. There's actually a very cool documentary about him that I enjoyed. He's kind of a creepy guy, but he's interesting at the same time. He has a sort of weird charm to him in a strange way. And he's sort of mostly famous for creating the character Felix the Cat. Felix the Cat. And Felix the Cat is not the one that you think of, not meant for children kind of cat. He's sort of an adult cartoon. I mean, when I say adult, I mean pornographic. So, but very risque. This one's, now we go from one comic thing which is poorly boxed to one that's extremely well wrapped. Hopefully I can get the comic out. This is so weird the way that they did this. They put multiple layers of boarding So it really protects the comic, but at the same time, it makes it incredibly hard to get out. So I'm just going to slice some more. And hopefully I can get the book out. So this is, again, so both of these orders, it was both in the same kind of genre. As I said, these are comics where they were either mentioned in the Seduction of the Innocence book, and if you're not familiar with the Seduction of the Innocence book, it's the one that led to the Comic Code Authority. So it's kind of a major comic situation thing that happened that sort of marked the end of the golden age of comics, where comics became less free in terms of the content that they could produce inside of them. And so I've been trying to pick up any comics that were associated with that Seduction of the Innocence whole project. And this is one of those comics. Now this is a kid's comic and it's meant for kids. But it was mentioned in the Seduction of Innocence book, and it was used to help bring in the Comic Code Authority and sort of end comics the way it used to be, like the EC comics, the extreme horrors, extreme gore of the early to late 40s. So this one is a kid's comic, and the reason it was mentioned in the Seduction of the Innocence book is there's a scene where there's a duck and it's about to hit another duck, and they thought, wow, it's sort of suggesting young kids can learn violence from it. It's like, this is sort of targeting violence to young children. So that was the logic behind it, and it is truly a kid's comic. There's nothing really that extreme about it. But they thought it was something that was corrupting the minds of young children. So it's kind of an interesting book to have picked up. And I got a pretty good deal on this one as well. So as I said, I paid $40 for the Zap Comics Number Two, and I paid about $20 for this one. And this is actually quite a high grade for a golden age kids comic. So it's quite nice actually. And then it looks really good in the Mylar. So I'd say it's like at least a 4, maybe even a 5. So yeah, it's quite nice actually. So yeah, it's just kind of a cool comic. So Super Duck 22. This was mentioned in the Seduction of Innocence trial. So not trial, but book. The trial, there was other things that were mentioned in that. So I hope you enjoyed this. It was a rather small unboxing for me. But it was a couple of packages that came, and it sort of shows you where I'm ordering, what kind of comics I'm ordering right now. I'm moving away from buying a lot of modern comics because I see that the market is a bit too hot. So I'm going to more golden age and comics that are maybe a little bit undervalued or underappreciated. And that's is right now. So as I said, you can pick up some of these golden age comics that are kind of major in terms of their historical significance. Like, as I said, this is like a $20 book that was kind of instrumental in changing comic history. So, it's a pretty good deal, I think. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos. There's lots of great stuff that I mentioned. Thanks for watching. Bye.